64 on Sunday. 64? Hitting 80% of the fairways? It's crazy good. And on top of that, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it now. I was right. But before I do so, I wanna hear what your predictions are for this upcoming weekend at TPC. I'm gonna take Scotty, and I'll give you guys the rest of the field. Actually, you know what? I'll give honorable mentions to Wyndham Clark and Max Homa. I'm not right that often, so just give this one to me. Now listen, at the end of the day, when you're hitting 80+% of the fairways and you are hitting as many greens in regulation as Scotty is, and your putter is starting to warm up pretty nicely, then it's probably pretty safe to say that that 64 felt like a layup to him. 64 on Sunday in a pressure-packed environment on a very difficult golf course. Pretty crazy. Now this week, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be focusing in on one very key move that he makes in his golf swing that a lot of you amateur golfers at home battle with. And it happens very quickly in that starting move in your downswing that gets you out of position and keeps you out of position. If you want to become a better driver of the golf ball, you need to understand how important it is to have your golf swing stay exactly the same from one club to the next. You shouldn't have all of these golf clubs in your bag and like half of them. You should like every single club in your bag. And you don't have to fear your driver because you have that big banana slice or that big snap hook or those big catastrophic misses that continue to put you behind the 8-ball. You need to understand what causes those misses, but you also need to have a better plan in place. So later on in the week, what we're gonna be doing is you and I are gonna be heading back out to the range, and we're gonna be working on a 3-step drill that's gonna help you start becoming more in command of your driver swing. You're gonna have a better release, you're gonna have better timing when you start turning the speed on, and you're gonna learn this very critical move in transition that we're about to highlight today in today's video. So hopefully you guys are ready to take that journey, and hopefully if you guys are brand new to the channel, you take a moment, head down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. That way when we release the new drill that's coming out later in the week, that you are notified and ready to rock and roll. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post that up below. Now, let's get to work. So there are two very important things when it comes to improving at the game of golf that I never want you to do. And the first one being is that I never want you to follow the feels that the best players in the world talk about when it comes to their golf swings. No, I don't care if it's Jack Nicklaus, Ben Hogan, Tiger Woods, or Scotty Scheffler. It does not matter. Their feels are very much tied to their DNA, just like your feels will be tied to your DNA. And the other thing that I never want you to follow is that if you ever find a marketing machine or golf instruction that tells you that you should be throwing the golf club from the top of the swing down to be able to improve your golf game, that is information that's not going to help you get better at the game of golf. Yes, there is a throwing motion that takes place in the golf swing, but it's when that happens that is absolutely paramount to your success. And what you're gonna find is that Scotty definitely throws the golf club, but he throws it as his hands and his arms lower inside of the acceleration zone. And as he gets ready to start posting up, this is where the throwing motion starts to happen. So his lead hip starts to move back up and away, and he starts really firing that right arm down so that the club is moving very quickly down through the bottom of the swing arc. Now, if you've been following my videos at all over the last few weeks, you would notice that I have some of these squares back on the screen that really help people bring to light what the golf swing should really all be about. When you look at this top section, this red section, this is what we call our slow zone. This section of the golf swing is just as critical as this section of the golf swing down here we call our speed zone. And then this section in the middle called our acceleration zone is also very important. But one of the things that I want you to remember is that when the hands and arms and the body get into this slow zone, it's not where I want you to move your slowest. This is where I want you to understand what should be taking place. And Scotty does this very well with every single club in his bag. He allows his body to shift the exact same way, and he allows his shoulders and his arms to respond the exact same way in that first critical move in transition, whether it's an 8-iron in his hand or whether it's a driver in his hand. And that's exactly what I'm going to be teaching you later in the week. So if you look at this very closely, what you're going to notice is that here's where the backswing is complete. Okay, he's going to start moving aggressively onto his lead side. Okay, now all of his pressure is now moved underneath the lead leg. You're going to notice that he's got somewhere between 75 to 80% of the weight parked underneath that lead ankle. But if you look at his shoulder line, you can see that his shoulders are very much closed. And one of the most important things that he's doing from that really high hand and arm position where you see this lead shoulder into a substantial amount of protraction is that that lead shoulder starts to move down into a very neutral position. In order to do that, you have to be able to alleviate tension in the shoulders and the arms to allow the arms to work independently from what the rest of the body is trying to do. That's a very taboo move for a lot of you at home. Now, looking at this with an iron swing, you're going to see that it's going to look very much the same. Let's just say that this is an 8-iron in his hands. And what you're going to see is that as he makes his move onto his lead side, again, the weight shift is almost identical. You can see that the shoulders are still closed. The lead arm is now down to parallel to the ground. And what that would look like from a down the line perspective is that would be the 9 o'clock position that you see so many of my videos structured around. And I get this question all the time is, why do I spend so much time teaching people how to be really good from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock? Well, if you can be really good from this position, down into your delivery, down through the release, into a finish position, then you've got a really good fighting chance to be able to play some really good golf. But the reality is that we don't live in a 9 to 3 swing format when we're playing golf. There's a lot of stuff that actually takes place as the hands and arms start to elevate above the yellow line into the red section here, where we call it the slow zone. And you can see that what's happening is that the hands and arms continue to elevate. Okay, you can see that the body continues to turn. And so he uses that really high hand and arm position, and now he starts to unload onto his lead side. The arms start working down from the shoulder line and get him into a position now where he's ready to start turning up the gas. If you start the processes of throwing the club up here, you're going to run yourself into trouble. What you need to do is you need to be patient and allow the golf swing to evolve. Allow the weight shift and the shoulders and the arms to gradually work back out in front of the body rather than trying to create any sort of big force of movement. When you get yourself into this position, then you can start getting on the gas. And the fun thing is that I'm going to be teaching you later in the week is that you can actually make some subtle manipulations to your shoulders and your spine from this section of the golf swing down and ultimately manipulate the ball flight and cater to whatever you're looking for as far as the ball flight is concerned. You can start to hit high draws. You can start to hit bullet cuts. All of those things can tie back into your ability to be able to move through this position properly. And that's exactly what I'm going to be teaching you. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's analysis. This golf swing is very consistent. Why? Well, because he moves exactly the same way with his irons and his driver. He releases the club exactly the same way. He keeps things right down the middle of the road. It doesn't need to look perfect for it to be productive. That's something that I want you to grab a hold of in order to be able to start playing your best golf. So I will see you guys in the next video. Let's make it a great day.